Yes, every week at this time we give you a review of the weekend's real estate and look ahead as well. Peter O'Malley joins us today from Harris Partners as we head toward the spring trading season. Peter?
Oh, good evening, John. Thanks for having us along.
Well, just before we get to spring, the August numbers are in, so what are we looking at? What did August tell us about where the market is around the country?
Look, Brisbane is really performing strongly. House prices were up 0.9% for the month, John, whereas apartments in Brisbane were up a whopping 1.7% for the month. Brisbane is also just about to overtake Canberra as the second most expensive housing market in the country. There's a median house price in Canberra at the moment of $967,933, without being too precise. That was actually a 0.3% fall in Canberra last month, whereas Brisbane is just $1,000 behind at $966,000. So I think you'll find this time next month that Brisbane will be officially the second most expensive housing market in the country.
Quite incredible. All right, so we're into spring. So what are we looking at here? Because we've had very warm weather. Of course, the weather's been very, very wild in the last 24 hours. But what are we looking at this spring in terms of what might be available?
Well, as far as the Sydney market goes, John, I think the big story is stock came on early. The spring stock started coming on in early August, and that was counter-trend to the last few years. So agents, including ourselves, are reporting an increase somewhere in the order of 25% jump in stock levels as to what we've experienced in previous years. Now, I note that in the auction clearance rate that there were 115 auctions withdrawn out of a scheduled 942 on Saturday. So what that's telling us is a little bit too much stock has come to market at once, and the buyers in the marketplace at large are struggling to absorb all of that stock.
Yeah, it's intriguing, isn't it? Because we talk about the spring selling season. So the idea is you're told, well, wait until spring, or do you sell in the quieter times? There's less choice. What do you advise people normally?
Oh, that's an easy one for me. I always advise people to sell when stock is low.
Yep.
And whilst, yes, the garden may look nicer in spring, so does everyone else's garden, meaning that it's a moot point. But if you did go to market in winter this year, you'd have enjoyed pretty soft competition levels as a seller, and that's when you tend to get higher prices. I think the reason we've seen a surge in stock levels earlier this year, John, is there was a lot of people wanting to go to market, but they were hanging out waiting for the rate cuts that never came. And if you find yourself needing to sell out of a property or really wanting to, it's obvious that the rate cuts probably won't come this year now. And suddenly, overnight, it felt like we were just received a deluge of incoming seller inquiry.
Right. Now, look, the first home buyers grants, we've had them around the country in various forms for a long time, and there are arguments that it just pushes prices up. But the New South Wales first home buyers grant, this is one of the issues, isn't it? That you have to qualify for the grant, but now they've recouped a fair bit of money from people who violated the terms of the agreement, which was you had to live in the house for a certain period of time. You actually had to be actually qualified to get the grant.
That's right, John. It had to be a first property and you needed to occupy it for a full year. A lot of people have fallen foul of that and have gone on to just continue renting the property they purchased, having gained the first homeowners grant. And with big data and reading the reports that have come out today, the government have captured people using big data by cross-referencing things like electricity bills, the rental bond board, with people that claimed this incentive. So over 400 first home buyers have been caught and wrapped across the knuckles to varying degrees for having claimed the first homeowners grant when they weren't entitled to it. And it's a total of $9.5 million has been recouped by the state government.
Yeah, so that would be a situation where you're the rent vestors, where you might be renting, you get the first home buyers grant, you purchase something, you then have to move into it within a year, and you've got to live in it for a year. If they didn't do that, they might have been renting it out themselves, so they then had to pay the home buyers grant back. But I suppose there's also, I guess the negative gearing that wouldn't be covered by that, would it? But that's one of the things they would have been accessing.
That's right. Look, it's great business, to rent the property out and take the first homeowner's grant, but the reality is it's
not legal.
The rules.
Yeah, that's
right.
It's
not legal. And there's even in one report, tenants reportedly made tips to the government, such as when the renter was asked to keep the landlord's name on utility bills. So that's knowingly defrauding the government, whereas some people may have accidentally done so, or their circumstances can change. So I think some people would have been given a soft warning and some people would have been given a hard financial penalty depending on the type of infringement they've incurred.
That's fascinating. All right, Peter, as always, great to talk to you, and it'll be interesting to see how the market goes in the months ahead, particularly with all the speculation about where interest rates are going and this constant toing and froing between the government and the Reserve Bank, which I guess you follow each day. Before I let you go, I like to do this with doctors in terms of medical shows and hospital shows and police in relation to police shows. So do you watch The Block? Do the people in your business watch The Block and talk about what you see on The Block?
I don't watch The Block, no, John.
Well, there's an easy answer, isn't it? Easy answer, because it's your business on there, but I imagine it ain't the way it actually plays out.
No, well, I think the big point about The Block, if I can say this, is that one could not renovate for the cost that they managed to do so on The Block in terms of subsidised labour and sponsorship, etc.
Yep.
So I accept it's great theatre for a lot of people who enjoy watching it. There's no doubt about that. But I see more people that overcook renovations than actually profit from them, and that's the big misconception between what happens on The Block and what happens every day in the marketplace for mum and dad renovators.
Sure, and that's probably more of a problem for tradies as well. All right. Thank you so much, Peter. We'll talk again soon.
Look forward to it. Thank you, John.
Peter O'Malley there from Harris Partners.